Gentlemen, welcome back. Man, I wish you knew the backstories to so much crap, because you think I'm a mess on screen. You should see me behind screen. Anyway, so let's start off with Tom took pity on me basically and opened up his calendar today and is gonna fit me in right now to do a coaching session on catching the spin. So he thinks he can fix me. So here we go. Now, I don't know if you've noticed the bottom screen there, but I'm wearing these kick-ass socks. I try to be a happy-go-lucky fella, and I've been really miserable, sick, so I'm trying to bring some light to this freaking death parade. So, this is my socks, but I've been running this for about 5 or 10 minutes, and I don't think I like it. The reason being is that it feels like there's more weight on my thighs because like the heel is my heel is lower. So I don't think I like it. So I think I'm going to go back to my boot. So, but I did want to show you that I did give it an effort. Okay. So let's see how I feel because I don't like it. So we're going to do what I did yesterday. One shoe, one color, and I do like my loafer, which I get shit for, but for my brake. See, yeah, that just feels so much more natural. Yeah, see. Okay. Oh yeah, that just feels. But I probably should start doing the barefoot thing. Oh yeah, and if I don't know if you heard that, I was supposed to get my butt kicker working, and well, I got one of them working. The one I don't really give a rat's ass about, the one on the seat, and all just. So, anyway, oh shoot, I gotta jump into his Discord here. Hang on a second. But yeah, so that's what the hell's been going on. Yeah, a fucking mess. Anyway, what do you mean whining? You like them? I was gonna go like more like corporate with like a little bit of a flair, but I said, you know what? We're gonna keep it skull and crossbone. So that's what I did. I know you don't think I got style, but I do. I just don't like showing it on air. Okay, let's try this. Corporate 101. Waiting room. There we go. Perfect. Okay. All right, this poor bastard. All right, let's see what we got here. Yeah, so I told you about my butt kicker. It's not working. He's gonna try to correct the spin. My shoe situation. And that's it. I think we're all caught up. That's what's going on. I really don't like this butt kicker on the butt, though. I tried to make it so like when you see when I hit the brakes, it gets a little tingle in the rear, which I guess is fine. But like the little tingle is okay because you understand it. Like right there, okay, you're starting to lock up, I think. But sometimes it's like right there, it just, and all I have, I think, is wheel slip. Yeah, Jay, I think that's. Let me make sure. But I think that's the one I, because you and I shut them off. And then, I think everything was shut off when I just turned it on. See, it's not turning. Okay, I gotta slow down here. Okay, let me just, now that I said that, let me, I got so much shit up, I gotta remember what the hell's what. Where'd it go? Okay, here we go. Yeah, see, I just have wheel lock, so, and at 50%, it ain't much. And then when I hit this here, it goes, that's for the left, that's for the right side. So, you don't really feel, I wonder if I should do front and rear better. Let me see if I like the, You don't feel it. So the front and rear don't work. Only the rear works with the ass. So I'm gonna do left to right, because yeah, it still works. Yeah, because if my front tire's slipping, it ain't gonna tell me. So we'll just do it that way, and I'll pretend like, hey, it's all one same thing. And that's it. I think that's the only thing I got on. Ground effects. This was the one I was messing with when I shut everything down. Yeah, that's it. That should be what I want. Wheel slip. No, I'm just gonna do lock. What do I want? Wheel slip, wheel lock. Yeah, we're just gonna do that one. Keep it simple, stupid. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. And I can't get the. But I don't know why it won't work. So I want to get the where the fuck am I? Ah, turn one. Okay. Well, I'm not in turn one. I'm in fucking last corner. Okay. I just want to get the haptics. But if I get the haptics, it's just gonna... something else better is gonna come out. Like the active pedal. They got the... you can get the whole SimiCube active pedal with the whole thingamahoo. Not as good as the first one, because you know that, because the better one is 5-year warranty. The $3,000 one, whatever, $2,500 one is like a 3-year warranty. So there's a reason why they do that. But I mean, sim racing. How long do you want to keep it anyway? You know, like after, it's like having a car. You pay 8 years on it, but you don't usually keep it. I don't know if I like that. Oh, Jay, when you get better, there's really no rush. But I need a video, or if you can just send me a video, because I looked on it, and I can only find one about a laptop. And you're like, what the hell are you talking about? Well, now I'm going to tell you what I'm talking about. The fourth monitor. I have my fourth monitor set up so I can do all my chat stuff like that. But I can't, it'll show like the fourth screen, you know, it'll show the screen. But I can't get the mouse and stuff. I don't know how to move everything kind of up there to have it work. So I don't know the best video. When I was sick, I was lying down, I was trying to figure it out, but everything said laptop. Well, this way, that way. Hello, sir.
Can you hear me all right?
I can. Can you hear me? Okay, I think I'm on push to talk. 1 second. Let me just fix that.
Yeah, I'm talking, but I'll double check mine as well. Testing, testing.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I heard you. I think I'm just on push to talk, so I gotta fix it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. How's it going?
It's going good. So, well, I mean, yeah, it's going as good as yesterday, right? So the butt kick, like I said,
yeah.
you know, we're gonna get it. So
yeah,
that's what we're here.
Yeah, no worries. We can park the butt kicker stuff to one side.
Okay.
I really think if we can solve the spinning, like you saw, like you had so many good races and you were in so many good positions, and it's just those moments where you spin out. If we can make the spins happen less and make them easier to save, then I think you're going to be in a good place. So I want to start off before I get you doing running. I think I need to update.
Oh yeah, I need to go live. Oh, okay, you're good. And I need to go live. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
First off, I want to ask you a couple of questions in terms of how you currently manage spins when you feel like they're about to happen. So there's kind of two ways that you look like you're losing the car in the stream yesterday, and generally, like every so often I pop onto the stream and every so often I see you spin out, and it seems to me like there's two ways that you spin out. One is under braking when you're like getting the rotation on entry, and one is when you're starting to get back on throttle. My first question, then let's treat them both the same to begin with. How do you identify when you're feeling like you're about to start spinning, and how do you try and correct that?
So how do I don't honestly know if I can answer that first part.
That's okay. That's okay.
Like really, and I guess that's kind of, if I could do that, then I guess if I could do that, then I probably wouldn't spin.
Exactly, exactly.
And
So
then
the fact that you can't answer it is
yeah,
pretty much good. If you were saying, if you were about to tell me all of the right ways to correct a spin and all of the right ways to save a spin, that would be worse because then you'd know everything and you just wouldn't be doing it.
okay.
So the fact that you don't know the answer is good. Sorry, continue.
And then how do I try to correct to save it? Almost like you would in like drifting a car, and like you just kind of whip the like counter steer, but it doesn't, like this game seems broken. Like you just like I don't like, and because it can't be me, and so I'm just fucking with you. But no, I feel like you counter steer, and I like yesterday I counter steered and I almost had it, and then it just snapped. It just spun, and I was like, I was almost straight. I did everything. I went through the grass, it came back on, and it didn't do it. Like it just so I don't know. Like that was kind of my like I don't know why, and that's where I was like, and then it just seemed like after that, trying to catch it and do it, I'm like, I can't save this car. Like sometimes, like when I'm racing the GT3 cars, you really feel like, oh wow, that was an awesome save. I'm finally getting this. This car is not like that at all. It's just kind of like you're there for the ride. You know, like, or that's what it feels like to me. But I love it. I really do like it because it really humbles you. And I am a cocky guy. I mean, it doesn't come across online, but I'm a cocky person. So I'm like, I hate it.
No worries. Okay. Next question then. Can you feel it in the force feedback when the back end is starting to come around, or is it a real struggle to feel any indication in the feedback?
So I how do I put it? Yeah, so I guess I do. So I'm really starting to dial in, and I think that's why everything's starting to make sense. Is that with whatever we did that last time, it just kind of opened up the door where everything has like really started to click, and so like now I know what to feel down, turn down or up my force feedback on certain cars. Like okay, this is okay, and that's kind of, you know, because some people have a crank so bad that you're hurt, and I got sore like shoulders, so old age or whatever. But anyway, so I don't really need that, and as long as I kind of get
feel
that,
what you need
to so
yeah.
I mean, what I did used to feel like I was brain dead though with it, and I just couldn't. But just to catch it though is like
it's hard.
It is. So it's like it's almost like you catch it as soon as you do it, but sometimes you have to react, and so and it's like it's so fast. Like it's just like there is no. You have to know. Like you have to. You know, like by the time you know, right? Yeah. But by the time it says it, it's too late, and that's where I'm at. Like, and that's kind of where I feel like I'm at.
Well, we need to get. Yeah. We'll get you there. Don't worry. So, can you pull up your? Is it? What wheelbase you got? SimuCube, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you pull up your wheelbase settings, whatever that is? And then, profiles probably.
Where's mine? Why is it not there? If it tells me I'm not online again. Okay. I just use my so it keeps wanting me to do that. Let me go back to. It's showing I'm offline, right?
Yeah, it looks like it, yeah.
But it just did this to me the other day. Okay, so let me go.
Try clicking offline, the next to paddock, or if these are the settings.
This is me, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, looks good. So what I was looking for is the damping, the friction, and the inertia. If you have too much damping, it can be hard to feel the the car coming around on you. So the fact that you haven't got that is all good. I don't know a huge amount about the other SimuCube settings, so I might Google that afterwards. But to me, this looks fine. So if we jump back into iRacing and look at the iRacing force feedback settings as well, it may not be a force feedback thing. It may be a how you're holding the wheel and controlling the wheel thing. But if you pull up options in iRacing now, just quickly.
Oh,
Yeah, that's fine. All looks good. Yep, that all looks. Yeah, okay, perfect. So that's fine. So let's jump into the car.
So
Yeah.
you look about my size, and so 5.4 with 25 Newton meters. What is that?
That's a good question. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. So the way I guess work that out is if you jumped into the car and you ran a couple of laps and you pressed the auto button, that would give you 25 Newton meters of force, and then whatever number that is, let's say that was 10.
Yeah.
If that number then goes, I can't remember which direction it goes in. Sometimes you increase it and it gets lighter.
Lighter, yeah.
It gets lighter.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, if you increase it from 10 to 20, in theory, you'd then have half the force feedback. So you'd have 12.5 Newton meters.
Okay.
That's not a great answer, but it's close enough.
Okay. Because I usually think I run about half. So if that's 25, I'm guessing I'm running around 12 and a half then. Because I usually feel like I cut it almost in half of what they think. Cause I think the rest of it's overkill. And, you know, like,
yeah, no,
okay.
definitely. 12 is definitely plenty.
Okay.
So let's run a few laps, or like a few corners, probably even, where you're going to deliberately try and get the car to spin a little bit, not going too much over what you'd normally drive, just like enough to make a tiny mistake, and then suddenly the car spins out. However you want to do that, whether that's on the brakes or on the throttle, just.
Well, I don't know if I can purposely do it, but let me see if I can.
Yeah, it might be you may just have to drive a couple laps and just push hard so that you naturally end up spinning a couple of times, but without trying to induce it. But just.
Okay, I could have there, but see, it would have, but I let go of the brake.
Yep.
So yeah, it would have spun there. Okay.
And when you do eventually have the spin, I want you to remember what it feels like and what you're doing with your hands on the steering.
Well, that was too early.
It's a weird thing to try and.
Yeah, it's just so like, well, let me try to spin. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
I'll just drive normal and then I'll spin.
Yeah, yeah.
That'll work. Don't change shit, Gabe. They're gonna fix the shit you gotta do.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so the wheel, it felt like a rubber band.
Yep, like it was trying to ping back in the opposite direction.
Right. Yeah. Or I don't.
Yep.
I don't know if it pinged back in the opposite direction. It just felt like it was stretching. Yeah. Was it the opposite? I mean, is that what you consider opposite direction or just stretching? Because I'd like to understand this. So this way, I know how to, like, theory it.
What I would expect you to feel in that situation, as you're turning right and the car is spinning round, like the back end is kicking out to the left, the steering should get lighter, and if anything, it should pull in the left-hand direction. So into this right-hander, if you oversteer, either on entry or on exit, you should feel the steering start to get lighter, and try to almost tries to counter-steer itself to save the slide a little bit. Feel it?
I don't feel it lighter. I feel it like a rubber band. Is that?
So I'm trying to work out what you mean by like a rubber band. So it's
like
the rubber band is stretching.
Yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Stretching in which direction?
It feels like the direction. Well, let me see. It's a good question. I feel like it's stretching in the direction that I'm going in, but maybe I'm wrong. I am. Yeah, I don't feel the wheel get light.
That's okay. That's okay. So,
Well, no, that's scary because everybody says that the wheel's supposed to go light, and I tell them it doesn't, and I swear it doesn't.
that's okay. That's okay. Next question then. Spin it out one more time for me so you know what you're
Hang on a
feeling.
second. Okay.
Yeah. How are your hands on the steering? Are you tense? Are you loose? Are you tight?
Okay, so I feel I'm probably medium. Like you'll see me like when I get wound up or stuff like that. Like I'll be like, okay, loose hands, and I do the whole thing. I feel like ever since I've gotten better, honestly, I feel like I've gotten tighter on the wheel. But so, which is the weird thing to say, but I really believe that I used to be really really light, but I feel like I've tightened up a little bit. But
Yeah.
which just really
it's
kind of
okay.
it doesn't make sense to
Next
me. But
step.
yeah.
Keep spinning the car out, but once the car starts to spin, really loose hands and just try to let the wheel go where it wants to and just almost guide it in whatever direction you feel like it's pulling you in as the car starts to spin. Yeah, good.
No, I tried to do it there. It didn't do it. That was I tried to induce it and it didn't work.
You started to induce it.
Well, yeah. Then it just plowed though. I thought so, and then it just kind of there we go.
Yeah, we want to induce it in like a. If I think the easiest way to induce it by the looks of things at the moment for you is on the throttle. So let's induce it on the throttle, coming out of corners, but still like taking the corners fairly normally, right?
Okay.
So taking the corners normally, but overdoing the exit slightly, and then yeah, try to keep your hand once you start to feel the spin. Keep your hands really loose, and just try to guide the wheel where it wants to go naturally.
Oh, sorry. It wouldn't turn.
That's okay.
So, this is gonna sound weird, but it almost feels like the force feedback's too high because it feels like I have to grip the wheel a little heavier to turn the wheel.
Yeah, so you have to grip the wheel heavier to turn the wheel,
Uh-huh.
but in the moments that it starts to spin, I want you to relax your hands and really feel what the force feedback is telling you, and just let the wheel take the car where it takes the car. So
now I'm
you can
just
still
trying
keep
to-
your hands relatively gripped on the wheel when you're turning, still do that normally. So hold the hands on the wheel, completely normal tightness for the whole corner, and only once the car starts to spin out, and once you start to identify that, then loosen the hands and let the steering, or try to guide the steering in the direction it wants to go.
Okay.
It may take a few laps, don't worry.
Okay.
So
So now I'm just letting go like you know, like you taught hey in a crash. But yeah, so it does. It wants to whip back the wheel whips back the other way.
yes, that's what we're looking for. Exactly.
Okay, okay.
Exactly. So what you want to try and feel in the moments where the car is about to spin is feel it starting to move in, whip back the other way, exactly like you said. And when you feel it start to whip back the other way, that is in itself an indication that the car is about to spin, or more specifically, it's an indication that you're getting oversteer. And so in that moment, you want to be in tune with that and letting the steering straighten itself a little bit, not excessively, but for now, feel that with loose hands and try to save it now that you can actually feel that the car's coming around on you.
So how do you save? Like it's like a whip. So this is where. How do I ask this question? How do you save it with loose hands when a rubber band is stretching the wrong way, or the opposite way?
Oh, it's so if you're spinning into a right-hander, the wheel will be whipping back to the left.
Left.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's counter steering, right?
Mhm.
That's how you save a slide, is turning into the slide a little bit. There you go. Look at
Okay,
that. Saved
okay.
it. Look at that spin. You had a little bit of a wobble
Yeah.
afterwards, but you saved it. That was.
So that right
that
there,
was- yeah,
I did the same thing, but see how I went back, but it doesn't save, and that's where I kind of like I lose it. Like do I pause it and go back to see what I did wrong, or just keep going?
Keep going for now.
Just keep going?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's going to take a while to feel... First off, we want to get you feeling clearly when the steering is starting to rubber band, like you say, or when it's starting to snap back in the other direction. And we want to... Even if you spin out a few more times, that's fine. You're getting a feeling for what it feels like. And sometimes you're going to save it, and sometimes you're going to not. We'll build in a little bit more theory for exactly what you need to do to save it after a couple of laps. But for now, just feel it and do instinctively what you feel like you need to do, which is letting the steering go loose and turning into slide if you need to.
Okay, I did it there. Yeah, I found. Yes. Yeah. So now I'm trying to. Okay.
Good. That was almost.
Yeah. So I just can't. There's just time because like, now I feel the wheel. I just don't know when to like
when to react.
Yeah.
That's going to take some time, but you've saved 50% of the spin. 50% of the potential spins you've saved. And you tell me, is this feeling that you're feeling on the wheel now something you were feeling in your spins before, or not really?
No, well, yes, but I don't know. Like I feel like I'm doing everything I can to save it.
Yes.
You know, but in this car, you just like, you feel it, and then all of a sudden you get to that point, and the tires break, and you can't do nothing. It's just like, you just, like, that's it. You're just done. It's like just too much weight wherever it went, or whatever it is, and you're along for the ride now. But I just don't know where to, you know, to get it. Like, when to start it, yeah. So this is all on purpose, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right, okay.
So on purpose, get it to a sketchy moment.
Yeah.
But try to save it and bring it back.
Okay. Hope this isn't creating a bad habit. Now I can feel it when it wants to, you know, like, okay.
Yes.
There we
go. Good. You saved it again.
Honestly, I think that was more the speed of the car rather than the talent of the driver.
It was both. Yeah, good. Really good. That was, you just about saved that. That was so close to the edge of spinning out, and you still brought it back.
See, now I'm trying to hit it. Okay. Now, okay.
Good. Again. Yeah, there you go. Saved it again. That was a pretty big moment once again, and you saved it really nicely.
40.978. If I can figure this out, this is going to make great burnouts.
That was the curb. Once you hit the curb and you were bouncing all over the place.
You can't do that. So there is no chance. Okay.
Once you're like oversteering and then you go over the curb and you're like, the car isn't settled, the suspension is moving around all over the place. It's a much, much harder one to save. Yeah, good. So this time you rotated the car under braking.
Yes.
So when we practiced it, it was over rotation on steering, on throttle rather, and already you were starting to get good at saving that. It's going to take time. You're still going to spin out a few times.
Is there a difference between different ways you save that?
Yes,
or is it all the same? Okay.
Little bit.
Okay.
So when you're park the car up for a second, I'll share my screen. I'll discuss the theory on this side a little bit more. So this is going to be like I don't know, maybe 5 minutes of talking from me.
That's fine.
You've got the recording, so you can go back and watch it, and I'll
Hmm.
type up a summary at the end. So if you don't remember all of these things right now, that's completely fine. Uh, I realised that I haven't actually been watching you on iRacing all this time, so I don't think I'm going to be able to. Oh, you know, yeah, here you are. Oh, you're perfect. Here we go. So,
Where is you?
why can't
Why?
I find you?
Why
Here we go.
can't
This is
find?
fine.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, am I sharing?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think you are. Yeah. Yeah. Cause I'm
Yeah,
in the
keep me
car.
in.
You're out of it. Okay.
Yeah, right. So the reason we oversteer, so oversteer is the cause of all your spins, right? Whether it's on throttle or whether it's on brakes, it's that the back end gets loose and you spin out. Uh, the reason the car balance is shifted towards oversteer is because in the moment where you spin out, you've got more grip on the front tires than you have on the rear tires. So by however you're driving, the amount of steering you're giving, the amount of braking you're giving, the amount of throttle you're giving, whatever you're doing with the front tires, you're not pushing the front tires to the limit of grip. They're like maybe ever so slightly under the limit, uh, but you have pushed the rear tires over the limit of grip. And so, what we need to do to prevent the rear tires from fully losing control is ask the rear tires to do less. And so, if we're cornering, we can ask the rear tires to do less by asking the car to corner less, which means we actually ask the front tires to do less, right? But when you're starting to spin, and I say relax your hands and feel that the wheel is pulling you back in the other direction a little bit, what you're doing when you follow that is if you were turning into a left-hander with like I don't know 70 degrees of steering angle, then you're asking the car to corner that amount, and when you feel in the wheel that the car's pulling you back to the right, the steering goes maybe less steering. Well, it'd be less steering, so it'd be like maybe 50 degrees cornering now. And so because you're turning less through the corner, you're putting less stress through the rear tires, and that's what allows them to then no longer be on the limit. Does that bit make sense?
Yeah. I'm just. But you want to be on the limit, right? That's correct.
Not when you're about to spin, right? When you're about to
Right.
spin,
Okay.
you want to get the rear tires back under the limit, or back to the limit, but not over it. So you
Okay.
want to ask for less in that moment
Yeah. Right.
because you're
Yeah.
about to
Yeah.
spin.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So you're turning with 70 degrees, you realize you're about to spin, you feel the wheel, you straighten the wheel a little bit. Suddenly now you're asking for less cornering, and the tires can handle what we're asking for. Uh, there's other ways of making this work. So when you're on throttle and you're starting to oversteer, you can either ask for less cornering, which you're asking for less through the front tires, which also means you're asking for less through the rear tires, or you can ask for a tiny bit less throttle. You don't want to be like massively lifting off the throttle because that will shift weight forward, and then that will give you more front grip and less rear grip. Uh, but certainly, if you're starting to spin out when you're on throttle, you don't want to be continuing to increase the throttle, right? You probably want to maintain it where it is and loosen the hands a little bit so that you're not asking for any more acceleration from the rear tires and you're asking for less cornering from the rear tires as well. So let's say this for now, and we may change the rules slightly. But for now, if you start to spin out on exit, don't increase the throttle anymore and light hands to let the steering go where it wants to go until you've got the car back under control, and then you can start accelerating more again. Uh, when the car's rotating under braking, same thing in that you feel the wheel start to go light and pull slightly in the other direction, and you have loose hands and you let the steering go with that so that you're turning the wheel less and asking for less cornering. But also as an option, you have the choice to drop the brake pressure a little bit, because when you drop the brake pressure, you take some of that weight that was over the front tires and you move the weight distribution in the car back to the rear. Because if you're braking to well, not 100% in this car, but if you're braking to 60% brake pressure, then you've got a lot of weight over the front tyres. If you're braking to 55% brake pressure, you've got slightly less weight over the front tyres. The weight over the tyres gives the tyres grip. So if you've got more weight over the front, you've got more front grip. If you've got more weight over the rear, you've got more rear grip. So if you're spinning out a little bit on entry, by decreasing the brake pressure a bit, you take some of that some of that grip from the front tyres and you give it to the rear tyres, and that shifts the balance a little bit away from oversteer and back towards understeer. So that's a lot of theory, and you may need to rewatch it back a couple of times, or in a couple of weeks' time, like you were talking about with the trail braking one. You may need to watch it back, and that will help it click as well. But the straightforward rules to give you for the rest of this session as we're practicing is, if you feel like you're going to spin out on throttle, then don't keep increasing the throttle, just maintain it until you've got the slide under control, while also being light on the steering and letting the steering go where it wants to go, so you ask for less cornering. And if you feel it on entry when you're trail braking, then same thing, light steering and let the steering go back to straight a little bit more, so you're asking for less cornering, but also you can decrease the brake pressure slightly more quickly so that you're shifting the weight balance back to the rear.
So I'm popping off, right? Is what I'm doing when it goes to spin.
Popping off the brake?
Yeah, or the throttle, and that's what's happening, right?
Yeah, so
okay.
The reason why we don't want to pop like fully off the throttle is because that gives you engine braking, and that actually shifts the weight distribution to the front, and that gives the fronts more grip and the rears less grip. It's counterintuitive, because when you're accelerating, you think that, well, that's asking the tyres to do a lot of work, and it is, but you don't want to shift the balance aggressively to the front. You just don't want to ask more from the rear tyres. So you want to maintain that throttle so that you're not shifting the balance aggressively to the front, but you don't want to keep increasing it, because then you'd be stressing the rear tyres even more.
Okay, so all right, I understand it. It's gonna be to get that.
Yes,
I got to get that catch that feel. Yeah,
Let's start just with spinning out on throttle.
Okay.
So when you start to feel the spin out, you're light on the steering and you don't increase or decrease the throttle.
See, I tried to catch it. Okay.
I don't think you were quite spinning it.
Right, no, I wasn't, but I was anticipating it, and I tried to catch it before it happened.
Yep. And yeah, just remember also really light on the steering once that starts to happen, because really you just need to be getting as much information from the car as possible once you start to be in that moment.
No.
Good. That was a little bit of a moment.
It was a little bit, yeah. But I let it,
That final right-hander is a good one. You can almost keep it flat, keep it pinned, and wait for the car to break out, because it's probably not quite flat, so there will be a point in the corner where it breaks out on throttle, and then you can really manage it there. Good.
I did it. No, I popped it though. Like I didn't stay. See, I jumped off the throttle.
You dropped fully off.
Yeah.
It may be that that's okay. It may, like, I'm not 100% sure which direction to tell you to go in, because I think it would be a little bit car specific and a little bit situation specific, and it's hard without me having driven the car to tell you exactly what I'd do. But if that's working, then it works. But try to not. You can decrease the throttle steadily, but don't be aggressive with the lift off.
Well, maintain throttle anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And that was probably started on the brakes and finished off on
yeah.
Yeah.
They say you cut the cord. You have to slow down and give up the time gained.
Good.
I was on the throttle and the brake. That's not good. I haven't done that in a while.
It's so keep this pinned and just wait for the car to brake on you. Well, maybe you don't. Maybe you can just take that corner flat. Yeah.
Maybe it was
That
I was
corner's
doing so
flat out.
slow. It's not supposed to be, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
43.9.
Yeah, so into the corner before it then, just take it normally so that you carry as much speed as you normally do. Yeah, there you go. Good.
If they say cut the cord, you'll have to slow down and give up the time gained.
See, there it is. That was on entry though, brake though, and
It was such a small moment that
Yeah.
you felt it so quickly that I didn't even see it. So that's awesome. You're going to want to slow down a little bit or you're going to get a penalty.
Oh yeah. It was like, I get so much shit for that. I don't pay attention to the black flag and the thing right in my face. It's like, how the hell do you not? I don't.
Still need to slow down. There you go. Oh, just about 1 second to go.
It's called tunnel vision. I have it. That was more grass, I think.
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that
you were
for
never
that.
gonna save that on the grass.
It was started and then it hit the grass.
How is it feeling at the moment in terms of trying to save it when you get on throttle? Does it feel any better, or not trying to put words in your mouth? Does it feel better, or does it
No.
feel about the same?
About the same.
Doesn't
Yeah.
feel better. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Now I know what I gotta. It's like there's so much you have to be aware of. It's really, it's so weird. It's like it's just not like pick things up, put things down.
Yeah. In time, it will start to feel a bit more natural, I think, and it will just become a natural part of your driving.
Ooh. I'm just gonna drive it normal.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll use that last corner where it's almost certainly going to break out.
Yes, Jay,
And
I'm
that
well
last-
aware I'm still on the gas and the brake now.
So keep it flat. Light steering when you feel it break out. That is just a flat out corner. I think we've just.
I'm telling you, it's got to be because I'm going too slow because it's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna hit my race line and try to see, because this isn't right. No, I did it wrong. Too early. Ooh, that one, okay. So I started to lose it on braking, and I went to medium throttle to save it, which was completely wrong.
No, that works. So it's
Okay.
in the same way that decreasing the brake pressure
Uh-huh.
shifts the weight to the rear, getting on throttle also shifts the weight to the rear. So that was instinctive, but it was correct. A little bit, as long as you're not too excessive on the throttle, a little bit of throttle can help you bring more grip to the rear. Yeah, good. That's the spin we're looking for.
That's the
Now
one,
it just-
yeah.
Yeah.
So, it was so, like, this is why I'm bad at all my favorite tracks. All the high-speed corners, like Magello, Watkins Glen, all these, because this is what it's like, this is my kryptonite. I just can't do the...
So the two things to think about there is, in those corners where you know that the car's potentially going to break out, you know that the balance is shifted towards oversteer. So you know that no matter, as you keep asking for more turning on the front tyres, the front tyres are going to feel like they have grip
Yeah.
all the time. Even
Yes.
when the rear starts to go, you're still going to have grip on the front tyres. So you want to be careful not to drive to the limit of grip of the fronts. You want to be aware that as you keep asking for more steering and more steering on the front tyres, there's going to be a moment where the rear tyres can't handle it, and you're not going to get that feedback until they start to break out. So really smooth on the steering and really just be aware that what you're doing with the front tyres is going to cause the rear tyres to have trouble. Like normally when the car is understeery, you just push the car to the limit, and it's very clear when you've exceeded that limit because you feel the understeer through the wheel, and you know that you've pushed the front tyres to the limit. But it's super easy to get oversteered by pushing the front tyres closer to the limit, just in a situation where the rear tyres happen to have less grip. Same again, if you start to get a spin, really loose hands and just let the wheel go where it wants to go. So smooth steering so that you don't get too much oversteer, and then loose hands if you do start to get it.
Not that one.
That's okay.
So I have to find that feeling on my wheel that I know is just about to break.
Yep.
Okay, so that, okay.
And it can even be a little bit before it starts to break. You don't have to be...
See right there,
So,
okay.
yeah, that was good. Perfect. And just when you start to feel like it's too close to the limit, then you ask, yeah, really good.
Yeah.
That was too much. That was, like, very good and very fast. And it was so close to spinning out. So
But
it was
that's the
maybe
feeling
only
I'm
just-
supposed to get, right? That's how I get fast.
It
and,
is.
Right.
It is. But you've got... I mean, that was purple. So you've got the pace that you don't need to drive every lap to that absolute edge.
That's
you do
not...
want some rotation. You just don't want... You don't want to be searching for like the absolute maximum amount of rotation you can get if you're also not comfortable with saving that rotation.
Oh, see, I spend a lot of time trying to find that sketchy, because
Yeah,
like
you do want that sketchiness because it is fast and
Right.
it's good, but you don't have if the fastest way to go is with 5 degrees of oversteer and you spin out at 5.1 degrees of oversteer, then you don't need to go to 5. You could go to like 4.5 and give yourself more margin, and you're not going to lose all of that time. You're still going to get the benefit of getting that oversteer, just not right to the edge of it. But the flip side is it's not going to be so sketchy.
see, there it is.
Purple.
See, I bitched out there. I would have had it, and I felt
okay.
it, and I lifted.
That's okay.
But then
It's gonna be
I didn't get my. That's why I'm losing the time, because
Yes, it is.
you know, yeah, because I bitched it. Okay.
Yeah.
See-
Almost.
So I didn't go light-handed. I just kind of.
Kept
I think
forcing
I
the wheel a
muscled
little
it.
bit.
Yeah, I'm more
Yes.
like okay.
And as soon as you're tense on the steering,
Yeah.
then you're not letting the steering wants to correct itself. The way
Okay.
the geometry of the car is set up,
Uh-huh.
the car kind of steers itself, kind of tries to save its own slide. It's like if you see a bicycle going down the road with no one on it,
Yeah.
the handlebars are set up in a way that it will keep itself centered, and the car to a certain extent is the same. So almost the worst thing you can do when you're starting to get a slide is get really tense on the wheel, because then you start forcing the wheel where you think it needs to go rather than listening to the car telling you where it actually needs to go. And it's counterintuitive, because as soon as you start sliding, that's when you want to grip the wheel because you're worried. But
Yeah.
that's exactly the moment where you need to be loose
But
and listen to what the car's telling
I just can't. So the wheel is gonna go back to neutral. So I have to.
you. Yes.
So this. Okay. So we're dancing. Okay. I have to.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I can. So it's gonna go back. Okay. So I have to hold it without holding it.
You just have to let it go where it wants to go.
Right. Yeah.
With, light hands.
That I just toasted the tires. I didn't like. I tried to be cute about it and let it go, but didn't.
Yeah, good. You could see that was on the edge on throttle. Good again.
But see, I'm still not. Like I still had muscle in it. I'm not. Boy, that's gonna be hard to break. Holy shit! I'm gonna need like a dog collar around my neck or something.
Set the base shaker up on you.
Yeah, no joke. Yeah, but I mean, like, wow.
It doesn't have to be so loose that you're barely like your fingertips on it.
Yeah.
You just need to relax and be able to feel what the wheel is telling you.
All right, let's try.
Point one.
Yeah, good. You're saving them. That's you pushing a little bit too hard, but saving it. Pushing too hard, but saving it. Really good. Yeah, that was. Oh. So the reason that was harder to save on the exit, but you still did. Whenever you get a moment like this, so rotation is good, and all the time it feels fast and kind of safe. It's okay. There's no problem. As soon as you have a moment like that where you have to correct the steering and it feels like a save, rather than a just a fast corner. The rear tires will have overheated a bit.
Oh, that's what I've been doing this whole lap. Yep.
Yes. Yep.
Yep.
So,
oh, I know. Yeah. But I'm trying to get it so like, hey. Okay.
No, that's good. That's fine.
Okay.
But, so what I want to say is, it's not a problem in the long term. So, a few corners later, the tires will be back down to a good place. But in the corners that come kind of directly after that, the next 3 or 4 corners, the rear tires are still going to be cooling down in that period, and so you're going to have less grip in those subsequent corners than you normally would have. So if you have a reasonably sized moment, like into this corner, you need to be aware that into the next corner, you're going to have less grip, and so you need to be a little bit more careful.
Okay. So I did that last night. Was my last race? The Oreo guy. Yeah, I think it was my last race, so my second to last race there. I slowed down here. And like, remember I said I got to slow down a second earlier, and I caught him 3 corners later, braking earlier because I had to save my tires because I smoked them on that, and I was like, holy cow, like, because James would do that. Watch, I'll brake a second later, and watch, I'm going to catch you by the end of the lap, and and it did it, and I was like, I thought he was bullshitting, but whatever I did was working because I was catching him with earlier braking.
Yeah.
So, now I'm just focusing on... Son of a bitch.
Yeah, good. Again, you pushed it, you saved it.
Just gotta find that.
You're finding it, though. It's going to take time, but you are finding it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looked for all the world like it was going to spin out, and you saved it. Before we started this, there was no way you were going to save that.
See right there again. That's cooking the tires right there, right?
Little bit.
Okay, because it's not that. Okay, because
I don't.
Yeah. That's where I don't know like how abusive I am on the tires all the time.
I don't think you're too bad on the tires. I think long term in the race situation, your tire usage is fine. I wouldn't worry as much as I think you do. The only time where it is going to be a factor is here, where you're definitely like the actual spin happened because of the first moment.
It did. Right. Yeah. and
Yeah.
and then I did it in the next corner, and then it was just okay. But I was like, well, I saved it the first time. Ooh, I saved it the
Yes.
second time, and the third
Yeah.
time there was just nothing.
And it was so much harder to save because you'd overheated it the first 2 times, so the tyres was that much hotter when the third slide happened, and therefore you had that much less grip available, so it was that much harder to save.
But that's how they drift, right? So I should be able to save that later down the road, right? Isn't that
I think
basically how they
that-
drift?
I think that third spin,
Uh-huh.
so all the time you're getting rotation that is making you faster and you don't have to correct it, that's not overheating the tyres. But as soon as it becomes like a worrying moment, that's overheating the tyres. And if you've gone like worrying moment in one corner, worrying moment in the next corner, and then you have a worrying moment in the third corner, the tyre's going to be so hot at that point that no one's really going to save it.
Okay.
So you've got to make sure you underdrive a tiny bit to anticipate that lack of grip.
There it is.
This was all good. No overheating there. That's just good rotation.
Okay. Didn't do it right.
Now let's just run laps where you're
Okay.
pushing on, you're really trying to find the pace that you've got, and you're going to naturally have some moments. So don't try for moments, but
Okay. All right. So just
when
go
they
race
happen,
it.
try and save them.
Gotcha.
Yep, go race them.
Sorry. Now I'm gonna use this lap to get out of it because I'm almost like to just
Used
like
to it,
wailing it.
yeah.
Yeah. You know, like
Yeah.
Scandinavian flick this bitch.
Yeah.
There it is.
That corner is just flat if you get it right.
If you get it
Whether
right,
you want to
right.
Whether you want to take it flat in a race is another question, but it is
28,
almost.
2, 4, 9.
The brake trace sucked.
Don't worry about the brake trace.
Son of a bitch! I knew it. I was like, "You're going too fast, Gabe. You gotta don't panic.
Yeah, there's
Don't
no
panic."
saving,
If I know that,
yeah.
but I was like, "Don't panic. You got it." And I didn't. But I didn't panic.
At the end of the session, what lap is this? Lap 19. We'll look at lap 19. If I had to guess, I'd say you just missed your braking point by a
Okay.
lot.
Yeah. I do that a lot.
Yeah. That when the problem is that you've missed your braking point that much and you're carrying that much extra speed, this isn't going to help. This only helps if you're driving
Okay.
close to the limit and you're like on your line, but you've just pushed it a little bit too far.
Okay. Okay.
If you miss your braking point by that much, you're carrying
Yeah.
so much speed that your best bet is kind of accept that you're going to run off track. So we'll,
35.
at the end of the session, we'll look at that braking point and we'll talk about how to minimize the damage that happens if you miss your braking point by that much. Because we can still avoid spinning, but it is still going to be a big time loss and a big moment. Just it doesn't have to also be a spin. So we'll talk about that. But for now, just focus on the driving. All good.
There it is. Fuck. I thought that was a good rotation, and it was bad.
It's just the line a little bit. The rotation was still good.
All right, here we go, Gabe.
Yeah, that was good steering through there. You're like you were tentative to ask too much steering from the fronts because you wanted to avoid the rears rotating, and it meant you handled that corner really nicely. It was good.
28.586.
Yeah, really nice.
I bitched it there.
That's okay. You were right to, because you'd carried a tiny bit too much speed, and there was a potential for you to over rotate. There's nothing wrong with that. When you miss the line a little bit, it doesn't matter. It only matters if you try to force it so hard onto the line that you spin out. That's the thing that's really going to cost you time. If you lose a few temps because you haven't quite managed to take the racing line in the corner, you can do that lap after lap, and that's going to matter far less than the one time you push it too far and you spin out and you lose 10 seconds getting back on track, right? As much as you want every lap to be perfect and you want to nail all the apexes, you're driving at a pace that you'll be fine, certainly in the splits you're at and into higher splits as well. Missing the odd apex isn't the problem. The only thing that's holding you back is the spinning. That was all good rotation. Good. That was almost gone, but you saved it. Yeah, really good. Yes, good. That was starting to break out, but you saved it. Were you light on the hands and you felt the steering correct a little bit?
I don't know what it was. I just felt it. Like, not really. It was more like intuition. Like the wheel. I don't know how to put it, but.
Yeah, that's right. Intuition is a good way to put it.
Don't mess it up. Fuck.
That's okay. That's such a minor mistake. That's nothing.
Got about 5 laps.
Yes. That again was so close to spinning out and you saved it.
Yeah, it was. Wow. That was
obviously far closer than you'd ever want to push it in a race.
Okay.
And it was 50-50 whether you were going to save it or not. But the point is you did.
Fuck. Is that because I went braked it or because of the last corner where I saved it?
Sorry, say that again?
So, the way I saved that...
Oh.
Did I miss the mark? But I didn't feel like I missed a braking mark, so...
I think you just... I just think you
did.
Missed the braking
okay.
mark, yeah. We'll look at that as well. So lap 19 and lap 23. We'll look at those two corners.
I'll do one more lap, and then we can look,
lap,
and then you're done.
Yep.
So I don't want to make you longer.
No, you're fine, honestly.
I didn't go far enough out.
Again, such a minor mistake, doesn't matter. It's still good to be aware of it so you can correct it in future laps, but it's so inconsequential. It's not something to get frustrated about, because in the grand scheme of things, it's nothing. Yeah, good again. It was close to going. Yeah, good. Really good.
So that whole section, if you hit it right, you are sketchy, right?
You don't have to hit it as sketchy as you are hitting
Okay.
But yeah, you know, that was all right on the limit. It doesn't quite have to be that on the limit. But you were pushing it maybe ever so slightly more than you had to, and you were still controlling it really nicely. This corners I think you could have kept this flat even as well, but there's no need to push it. It's all you lost is like half a tenth by being safe there, and fastest lap.
Okay.
Very nice. Right, I'll share my screen.
Going to hold you for a while.
Oh, I was sharing my screen. Sorry, were you getting? Oh no, you weren't getting it yet. No,
Nope, you're good.
Getting confused myself. Right. So it's lap 19 and lap 23, wasn't it?
22 or 23, yep.
Yeah. Can you jump out of the car and then back into the car in iRacing? So back to the point where you've got like garage and options and all of that, and then back into the car, and it should refresh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go. Right, so analyze that one. And so first up, lap 19. So I've compared it against your last lap, which was your fastest lap. So the red one is the fast lap. The blue is the one where you had the moment. Into this corner where you had the moment. Braking point is like 10 meters later than
it was
on
that.
the good lap.
Okay.
So it was braking point.
Okay.
So we've talked before about like finding the reference point and how to line it up with the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's just a case of being really diligent with that braking point. Once you've, because I think that is something you do every so often. You miss a braking point and you do get into trouble with that.
Not me, buddy. Got it fixed.
So in the situations where that happens, once it's happened, accept that it's happened, and the thing to do from there is just minimize the time mistake. So what happens here is you try to force the car to take the corner, even though it doesn't stand any chance of taking the corner. And so you have the spin, and so instead of costing you maybe 3 seconds, it's cost you 10. So once you start to notice that happen, all you want to do is brake for as long as possible with like very minimal steering input. So the more steering input you give, the less you can brake, because you're asking more of the car to turn rather than slow down. And when you're carrying so much extra speed, you want to be asking the car to slow down. So once you notice that happen, just kind of brake for as long as you can in a straight line to minimize how much you've run off the track.
Okay.
And only once you feel like the car is slow enough for you to be able to turn, then you turn. You accept that you've missed the apex by a mile, and you're probably in this situation, you're going to lose 2 or 3 seconds, but it's better than 10. So you see, here your instinct is still to try and hit the apex, even though you're carrying 28 kilometers an hour, so into miles, what's that like? 16 to 20 miles an hour more speed. So you're never going to make that apex and make it stick. So it's just a case of minimizing the time loss and not forcing the car to do something that it's not capable of. So lap 19, it was definitely just missing the braking point. Let's look at lap 23 as well, different corner. This corner. And same thing again. Look at this. Blue line is the mistake. In the good line, you broke at 29.50. In the bad line, you broke at 29.70. So you're just 20 meters later on the brakes.
So what is 20 meters? So now that's why, because, okay. So yeah, if we can do that, because I don't know what, everything's meters. I do feet and inches. So apparently I got to learn it because, you know, we're the only ones that use it. So. Guess I could calculate it, but usually when you don't look at it, I gotta just get the reference.
Yeah. So that last lap, this is where you broke too late. I'm just trying to see where you actually broke.
Isn't that pretty good?
So this is where you broke in the late example.
Yeah.
Here we go. So if you look at it this way, you've got the 300-meter board, and then you've got this catch fence, and then you've got this, whatever this post is, and it's just before this green sign is where you're braking, like relative to that. Whereas on the good lap, the last lap, so first frame you start braking. Look at the difference. So it doesn't look like much, but it is more than it looks like. So so my question then is, where are you braking for this corner? What is your reference point?
Right where I did it, because it said on that Get Good, or well, not Get Good, Grid and Go tutorial on the track. He said pretend there's a 400-meter box or whatever, 400, and do that. So I see that and like you said, that line, and that's about where I want to brake, is right where I broke.
So let's say, so I wouldn't say pretend there's a 400-meter board, because you have then you're guessing where that 400-meter board is, right?
Yep.
And that sets you up for making the mistake, because you can always guess in the wrong place. It's hard. It is hard to find.
Yeah, so that's why. Yeah, it's a guess every lap. Yeah.
Yeah, I see the dilemma here. There's not anything easy, is there?
It's got to be a mark on the road or something. I got to start looking at on the wall. So we'll just say this right here. I'll brake as soon as that wiper hits the end of that the stands, right? You know, when you come forward, click stop. Right, you know, see right ahead. So if you click it back 3 clicks, yeah, right there. Yeah. So if you click it,
it's difficult because it changes so quickly.
Okay.
So I wouldn't pick that reference, because it's very relative to where you're positioning the car.
Okay.
Like you see it, it happens so far back.
Okay.
If you wanted to be conservative, you could brake when this point hits the A pillar, but I think that's too early.
Okay.
Yeah, honestly, there isn't a super easy reference point for this corner. It may be that you've got slightly different graphics settings to me, and there's something better for you to pick. ideally we want to pick something and into the other corner as well, the corner where you.
Yeah, this
Here.
one right here, I try to brake before, like right around here is where I try braking.
Mm.
You're supposed to brake at the thing, but I feel more comfortable, and I don't feel like I lose any speed braking a little
So
earlier.
where do you brake at the moment for this one?
I brake a little ahead.
So like what is your reference if you have?
Oh, so as soon as like my dashboard will see the
Yeah.
pavement right there,
Yeah.
that's where I'll brake. But you should be able to brake a lot further ahead. But I don't lose any or gain any time.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Yeah,
Definitely
I
keep
don't.
your own
So I
reference.
just yeah.
Yeah, so it's when this lines up with that, right?
Yeah, well, a little ahead. Right, yeah. So when I do that, yeah, right. So that's about when I do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's.
Well, maybe a little even sooner than that, but yeah.
Yeah. So what
It's
you want to
about
have
that.
is a very clear.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to have a very clearly defined
Yeah.
one. So
on my dashboard, I do when I do it. So it's like,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. So whenever you overshoot the braking for whatever reason, whether you don't have a reference or whether it's a corner that's hard to find a reference, at that point you go into like survival mode where the only goal is slow the car down
Yeah.
and don't spin out. Because if you try to force the car to the apex, you will spin out. But generally speaking, you are saving the car so much more towards the end of the session. It's still going to take a while, and there are still going to be races where you spin in, and you've got to not get frustrated when that happens, and just know that it will start to happen less and less. In terms of good practice, obviously you want to practice being fast for a race, and you want to practice driving normally. But what we did today, where you're taking it to a bit of an extreme and then saving the car, is good, because the more chances you get to practice saving the car, the more you get used to how you have to be on the wheel. Just make sure that when it comes into a race,
It doesn't happen, right.
Well, not that it doesn't happen, but make sure you don't carry that style of driving into the race where you're over exaggerating and getting close to that limit unnecessarily.
Yeah, it took me 3 laps to get out of it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it did,
So
yeah.
It's a balance. You don't want to do that so much that you just get used to it, but it will be useful to, because, I mean, again, did it feel easier to save by the end than it did at the start? Or still about the same?
Yeah, no, it did, and then like learning it, you start to learn the I guess the edge, whatever you want to call it there. Like you learn your limit. So it's weird how everything really starts to open. You know, like one goes to the other, and you know it really is like almost when you learn one thing, sometimes it answers another question. And that's kind of what it's doing, is that like, you know, like, oh, okay, so if you can save that, now you're finding a limit, and hey, what that, you know, and now that you know that's too far, that's too far, and you don't need, you know, so it's just getting it right though, is feeling what the limit is. That's where I got to do that in the rotation. Yep.
Yeah. Anytime, obviously, it kind of goes without saying, anytime you spin out, you exceeded the limit.
Right.
Anytime you have to make a correction, you exceeded the limit. If you didn't have to make a correction, it was on the limit.
Okay.
Let's put it that way. And you don't always have to drive to 100. I mean, at a higher level, you have to drive to 100% of the limit. But if you're driving to like 99% and you're getting some rotation, but not the maximum amount of rotation, that's still going to be okay. There's going to be very few drivers in the like 1 to 1.5k splits that are rotating the car as much and using the trail braking as well as you are. So you don't have to get every last inch of that to be competitive in these splits, because the last few laps you're driving the car so nicely on the edge and on the absolute ragged edge and still controlling it.
But that I cannot do though, right?
You were,
because that's where I feel like I'm supposed to be. If you want to be fast, that's where that's in my head is where I think where I need to be at 100%. And so
one step at a time.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Eventually.
Okay.
But if you drive to 99.5%, you're going to be 99.5% as fast, but twice as consistent or 3 times as consistent.
Okay.
And like I say, the pace right now isn't a problem for you. The only 2 things holding you back are spinning the car out, because if you don't spin the car out, you always get a good finish in the splits you're in. And the other thing is a little bit to do with overtaking, which we obviously won't touch on now.
That's another mess. Yeah.
If you if you nail the not spinning out so much,
Uh-huh.
the next step is overtaking. If the not spinning out is still a challenge,
Uh-huh.
then we maybe do one more session on that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
don't worry too much. Don't get frustrated if the overtaking isn't perfect yet, because hopefully, in the same way that we've hopefully solved, or at least put you on the right path towards solving the spinning, we'll do the same with the overtaking. So, only two things really to focus on now is, well, three things.
Right.
Maintaining the good straight line braking that you've been doing. 99% of the time, it's perfect. Sometimes you forget. Second thing, making sure you nail your braking points. Sometimes you forget. But if you do forget, just minimize the mistake. Accept you're going to miss the apex. Accept that maybe you're even going to run off track, but try to avoid spinning. And then finally, avoid spinning in the same ways that we talked about. And I'll type up a summary in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, I really think this will help. I think you're almost there, and you were able to save the car so much more towards the end. And yeah, any race from here on out that you don't spin in is a win.
Yes, it is. No, that's what I'm gonna really work on. Like, I'm gonna try, quote unquote, slowing down and just kind of, like, like, I know that's what you said. Just run your pace, and then you'll speed up. But now it's like I'm starting to understand what the whole. It's just getting to learn to feel the wheel, and everything will come together. Like
exactly.
so.
And it doesn't have to be that much slower at all. It's just not pushing that rotation to the absolute extreme that you are. Still some rotation, but safe rotation. And you have a good way to find for yourself in practice sessions to come where that limit is. You'll find that, and you already were finding it really nicely. So I have every confidence that you'll get there. Don't worry.
All right, sir. Appreciate you.
No
really,
worries.
really do. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me know how it goes, and looking forward to seeing the progress.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
See ya.
Appreciate you.
Bye.
Okay. So that's that. I'm gonna really work on that. So I'm not gonna What the fuck? Hang on a second. Answer any questions. See if there's any questions. Holy shit. Okay, let me see here. He always seems to spin on acceleration. Yeah. Maybe he's able to change the shape of his throttle. No, you want linear. The problem he's struggling is the feel of the fear. Oh, it's the fear. Coming out of the first place, also a struggle to get the right amount. Okay. So I'm going to practice this stuff. Appreciate everybody for watching. I hope to hell you learned something, because that's kind of why I do this, is that if sometimes, like, I'm really more in tune than I was. Like, I understand what he was saying, where sometimes I'm just like, what the hell did he say? But it's really starting to open up and understand everything. The catching the wheel, like, you really, at the end of the session, you really felt it, like, I don't know how to put it. To me, it doesn't feel like what he was saying, but there's a feel to me now that's starting to connect, and that's all that matters. So that's why I didn't harp on the fact that, hey, it just didn't, like, I take everything so literal. Everything is literally literal to me. Like, it's black or it's white. So literally, when they say you gotta loose hands, like, literally, I just think it's, and that's kind of what I'm like, how the hell are you supposed to catch the car? It's not. It just means, like, you have to let the, like, you're not choking the shit out of it. You just gotta relax. And so that's kind of what I'm, learning, is that, like, it's not so literal, and it's really weird, because I thought it was, like, but that's what I'm really learning. It's not so literal, so I have to take the stick out of my ass and just kind of, like, we're ballparking it here. So, Anyway, there's a lot of shit, dude. Like, I'm telling you what, people think people are just dumbass rednecks racing. There's a lot of shit to get this. This is not like, I thought this was easy. Like, this isn't. It's just this is a lot harder than like I thought, and maybe this is my fault. I'm really kind of naive about it, thinking, "Duh, I can race," but there's a lot more to it than what you think. But anyway, I'm gonna stop this because I'm not gonna have you guys watch it. Really appreciate you. If you need it, just watch it again. I hope I did the screen saving correctly. I gotta make sure I titled it correctly, and I'm gonna practice on. Yeah, I appreciate you. See, you got it. But yeah, I'm gonna practice on catching the spin. That's what I'm gonna do. All right, thanks a lot, guys. See ya tonight. No, there's no. Yeah, I won that. No, there's no race tonight. I don't think. Yeah, so I might do something. All right, thanks, guys. We'll see ya.